The first one I saw and the first one I rode, which the Japanese mechanics had taken to the Isle of Man for personal transport when they came over here on their first trip in 1959. They used this as a runabout, and my eyes lit on it, and I asked them, could I borrow it for a few hours, and it was unbelievable. It had a maximum speed, as I soon found out, of about 70 miles an hour, with me sitting upright on it. The brakes on it were incredible. They were better than most racing machines we'd had. The technology was outstanding, the method of manufacture, their castings, their die castings, the quality of finish. These people were very, very serious about engineering. They took concepts, engineering concepts, a mega step forward.
Hondas framgångar var typiska för det japanska undret. Eftersom Japan saknade naturtillgångar var landet beroende av samarbete. Folk arbetade hårt och med hjälp av amerikanskt bistånd fick de chansen att börja producera med moderna metoder.
First of all, they used scale in a way that had never been seen in the industry before. They used the expansion in the domestic market to build new factories that had innovative techniques at the time. They used transfer lines, automated conveyors for assembly. They used special purpose machinery rather than general purpose machinery. New techniques of casting and forging, all were made possible at very large volumes.
In order to assure the highest level of efficiency and precision, Honda has found it expedient to design and construct many of the machine tools installed in its factories. Much of the machinery used on these engine production lines was made by Honda itself.
Honda in particular made very aggressive investment during the high growth years of the 50s and 60s and took on very large levels of debt. But with that investment, they achieved very low cost positions, very high margins, were able to pay back that debt quickly, and in the end they had higher profitability than the rest of the motorcycle industry in the world. The British industry was much more interested in short-term profitability. The Japanese were investing for longer-term returns and were taking much less dividends at that time.
Japanerna gav också mer för pengarna, de moderniserade motorcykeln. Men konkurrenterna, de blev inte mer kreativa utan istället hånade de Honda.
It's a common misconception in the West that the Japanese copy, full stop. The word for learn and the word for copy in Japanese is the same word. If you think of judo or kendo, these are arts that one studies a series of preset models, things that you have to do. You repeat them again and again and again and study them until you can be perfect at them. And only when you have perfected these pre-established prototypes can you then move on to extemporize, to develop. When we saw the Japanese motorcycles of 20-odd years ago that just seemed to be copies, they were. This was during the early boost stages. This was the getting to grips with what the thing was all about. How should you make it? What is a motorcycle? Then we saw the improvement phases. We've been in the dominate phase for quite a long time now.
It's a T20 Super 6, first introduced into this country in 1966. It was claimed to be the first 250cc motorcycle to reach 100 miles per hour. It does have 6 speeds in the gearbox, which enables the engine to make the most of its power. At the time, it knocked the spots off the general British competition, including bikes like the Triumph Bonneville, which it would give a very good run for its money in its day.
I mitten av 60-talet hade de andra japanska motorcykeltillverkarna tagit in Hondas försprång. För de 4 stora, Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki och Suzuki, var reglerna enkla. Sälj mängder av välgjorda och välkonstruerade motorcyklar. De skapade också några riktiga klassiker. Förlorarna var de europeiska och amerikanska tillverkarna. Under 60-talet försummade de att investera eftersom man underskattade de japanska konkurrenterna. Men japanerna körde i cirklar runt om och snart skulle de ge dem nådastöten. Här ser vi de första skivbromsarna på en masstillverkad motorcykel. Helt i linje med den japanska viljan att hela tiden förbättra. 1969 låg den här motorcykeln långt före de europeiska konkurrenterna.
It's the 1969 Honda CB 750. The biggest reaction to the 750 Honda was the 4 cylinders and the racing pedigree that went before it. Performance was top speed of about 120, 125 miles an hour, which was very good for the time. People didn't really believe that anybody was ever going to make a 4-cylinder motorcycle. Soichiro Honda proved that it could be done, and done successfully.
The first true superbike, the term was actually coined to describe this motorcycle. There was a paradigm for the future. It was a machine that was closely tolerance engineered. Its crankcase was split horizontally, which means it didn't drop oil all over the floor. Things that seem quite obvious to us now as just good basic engineering had been applied.
And it worked. You know, there were no horrible bugs, you know, you didn't have people coming back afterwards saying funny noises or, you know, timing chains breaking or tappets losing, no oil leaks, that unheard of. It just worked, and, you know, for a 4-cylinder overhead camshaft motorcycle that handled reasonably well and smooth, beautiful, unbelievable.
Den avancerade CB 750 krossade allt motstånd. Effekten av Hondas tekniskt fulländade vidunder och 10 års dominans på tävlingsbanorna var överväldigande. De italienska och amerikanska tillverkarna var tvungna att få statligt stöd för att överleva. De brittiska rasade ihop som ett kort.